What's up, everyone? Dominic here for Obligatory, giving you an overview and some of the highlights for the new releases ending in the week of August 11th. Noname has made her long-awaited return with Sundial, which acts as her sophomore studio album. It is yet another independent release from the Chicago-born MC, 5 years since her debut album and 7 years since her debut mixtape. The production here maintains the organic, jazzy, and neo-soul-infused atmosphere from her first two projects, though the list of producers for this one is significantly expanded. There's some exciting, even if controversial, features here on the track list, from Common to J Electronica, Silk Money, and Billy Woods. Sundial is a lyrical delight no matter which way you slice it. With so much having happened in the past 5 years, you can expect Noname comes with plenty to say. Up until this week, the Baltimore hardcore band Turnstile have not released anything new since their phenomenal 2021 record, Glow On. That sort of changes this week as they just dropped a surprise EP in collaboration with Toronto's Bad Bad Not Good. New Heart Designs sees the jazzy, hip-hop adjacent band completely transforming 3 songs from Glow On, with new versions of Mystery, Alien Love Call, and Underwater Boy sounding almost nothing like their originals outside of Brendan Yates' vocals. New Heart Designs is out now via Roadrunner Records. Carson, California's Reason has followed up his 2020 debut New Beginnings with new album Porches. Reason is a product of Top Dog Entertainment, which, as we know, houses talents like SZA, Schoolboy Q, and formerly Kendrick Lamar. Porches is a fairly straightforward West Coast hip-hop album with street-smart perspective and some socially conscious lyrics. The album was the source of some tension for Reason and the TDE record label, which boiled over into a public dispute between the artist and the label's co-president on the Back on Fig podcast. With that said, TDE fans will appreciate the features from Sir, Ray Vaughn, and Doechii, among numerous others. Trippie Redd just released the 5th and final installment of his A Love Letter to You series of mixtapes. A Love Letter to You 5 is out through 10K Projects and 1400 Entertainment, and it pulls features from Lil Wayne, Corbin, and Roddy Ricch, among others. Maryland rapper K.A.A.N, Knowledge Above All Nonsense, teams up with producer Mike Summers, also known as Seven, for the new album The Death of a Rapper. Lil B drops his second project of 2023 with his new mixtape B Unit. Swedish garage rockers The Hives are back with their first album in 11 years with the release of a new album, The Death of Randy Fitzsimmons. The title is a sort of tongue-in-cheek reference to a fictional 6th member of The Hives that was the band's manager and sole songwriter. Singer-Songwriter Bonnie Prince Billy released his new album, Keeping Secrets Will Destroy You, via Drag City Records. Moving on to the singles from this week, we are kicking things off with Olivia Rodrigo, who is out with a new single from her upcoming album Guts with the song Bad Idea, Right? This new track sees Rodrigo adopt a guitar-driven, pop-punk, and somewhat grunge-inspired sound, in contrast to the piano-driven lead single Vampire that came out back in June. Olivia Rodrigo's sophomore album Guts is set to release September 8th on Geffen Records. Next month, dream pop and shoegaze legends Slowdive are releasing their first album in 6 years since their 2017 self-titled release. They've already dropped 2 singles from the upcoming Everything Is Alive, and this week they've shared the closing track, The Slab. The band's Neil Halstead said in a statement that, quote, "This is the heaviest track on the record, and as the name suggests, we wanted it to feel like a big slab of music." The Slab is out now, and the full record of Everything Is Alive is set to release September 1st through Dead Oceans. Smoke DZA and Flying Lotus have now linked up for a pair of singles leading up to a collaborative EP, with Harlem World 97 out this weekend. Many know Flying Lotus for his intensely creative and otherworldly instrumental albums that have repeatedly struck common ground between IDM and experimental hip-hop, but here he cuts a pretty easygoing and almost nostalgic record with Estelle's featured presence here for the chorus. As DZA has improved dramatically as a rapper, he has done EPs with Benny the Butcher, Real Bad Man, and the legendary Pete Rock in recent years. And now with a Fly Low project in the works, it is a slightly unexpected but highly welcome project to come to fruition. They say few things in life are guaranteed, but if MJ Lenderman drops new music, you can guarantee that I will be talking about it. The Asheville, North Carolina artist's new song, Knockin', is a re-recorded version of a song that originally appeared on a self-recorded EP he put out about 2 years ago. It hits the sweet spot of lo-fi indie rock and alt country that Lenderman consistently thrives in, with reverb-heavy guitars that have a slight twang to them, setting the backdrop for Knockin'. Inspired by a combination of Bob Dylan's Knockin' on Heaven's Door and professional golfer John Daly, there's some real interesting lore behind the song's creation. Of the track, Lenderman says, quote, "I was spending a lot of time watching John Daly videos and came across a rendition he does of Dylan's Knocking on Heaven's Door. Daly's version includes an extra verse about golfing. My Knocking became a staple of the MJ Lenderman and the Wind live set, and it felt like a good idea to re-record it professionally." MJ Lenderman's Knockin' is out now via Anti Records. The Chicago band Deeper have a new album titled Careful coming out next month, and they've just released the album's 4th single with the release of Fame. A little different than the sort of bouncy post-punk sound we usually hear from them, Fame is highlighted by a spacious sound that feels almost foreboding more than anything. In a statement, the band described the track as, quote, "embodying the conversations in your mind after feeling like you've made a mistake and the thoughts that linger in your head afterwards. The lyricism is built on repeated mantras, and the instrumentation builds the tension. This is the first song from the record that embodies a more experimental side we're excited to showcase." Deeper's new album, Careful, comes out September 8th via Sub Pop Records. After a brief hiatus, Indiana punk band and self-described rock and roll stalwarts, the Cowboys have announced a new album titled Sultan of Squat, with lead single The Sultan of Squat. The track is a super catchy sub-2-minute song that feels plucked out of the 1960s with a sort of classic power pop sound. The jolly atmosphere and nostalgic sound is contrasted by the song's defeatist lyrics that, in an interview with Paperface Zine, guitarist Mark McWhirter described as, quote, "using a baseball game as a metaphor for life, kind of a story of someone who keeps striking out." The full Sultan of Squat album from the Cowboys comes out August 25th on Feel It Records. The Melbourne, Australia experimental rock/post-punk group EXEK, EXEK, have announced their 6th album, The Map and the Territory, with the release of lead single Welcome to My Alibi. Welcome to My Alibi continues to build upon the mesmerizing sound that they've displayed over the years that has seen them toy with krautrock, dub, and these sort of synth-heavy jazz sounds. The Map and the Territory is slated for an October 6th release via Foreign Records. Earlier this year, Dim Wizard, real name David Combs and guitarist of the DC power pop band Bad Moves, released the track Ride the Vibe, which featured contributions from Jeff Rosenstock, Sarah Tudson of Illuminati Hotties, and Steve Chiolek of Superviolet. This week, he is following it up with another single that's got features to make the eyes of indie rock and power pop fans open wide. The new single, titled X Games Mode, features Julia Steiner of Rat Boys and Mike Krule, as well as being co-written and co-produced with Sarah Tudson. X Games Mode is a super fun track that smushes together various bleeps, bloops, and synths with swirling guitar riffs and heavily compresses it all into a power pop explosion of nervous energy. And that does it for this week of new releases. We did not cover everything, so make sure to take a look at your screen or check out our socials if you want to see the full list of new releases that we put together. Otherwise, we are still polling for albums by King Krule, SOPHIE, and Westside Gunn. We also have a separate forum for albums by Lil Uzi Vert, Mac Miller, Denzel Curry, Travis Scott, and more. And lastly, make sure to check out our previous video where Dev covered some news stories that happened in music over the past week or so, and thank you so much for watching.